Who are the top 3 dark characters in Punishing Gray Raven? Now I figured with the recent release of Selena Capriccio, who's the first dark amplifier to be added to Punishing Gray Raven, it'd be a great time to approach that question and take a look back on the characters that have previously been released and see who are the top 3 dark characters. If you joined Global late like I did, your experience with the characters is going to be way different than somebody who joined the game right at the release of Global, especially when it comes to the dark characters, as they had one of the more limited rosters on launch. So let's take a look at that characters and see who the top 3 really are. Now I want to preface this like I preface videos every single time. Punishing Gray Raven is about fun, and I don't want the information in this video to take away from the characters that you may like or want to play in the game. If there's a character or a waifu that you really want to play or you really enjoy their playstyle, go ahead and do it. Who cares? It's a lot of fun. That's what it's all about. How I'm going to be rating the top 3 characters today, though, is in the context of building a dark team. And whenever you're building a dark team, you've got 3 roles that you're going to be filling: tank, support, and assault/DPS. But now that we've addressed that, let's go ahead and take a look at the other characters in the game. Alright, first up, we are going to be comparing the dark tanks. Our 2 current options in Global Punishing Gray Raven are number 21 and Kamui Tenebrian. Honorable mention is going to go to Karenina Radiant Daybreak. She does come in like 4 or 5 patches from now, so we're not going to say too much, but she does power creep the dark tank slot, so just something to take into consideration. So first up, Kamui Tenebrian. Now he is an S rank character, and normally S rank characters would be a little bit tougher to get, especially post the release banner. However, Kamui Tenebrian has been included on an S rank selector that you can get for new accounts, so it does remove that barrier a little bit. He's a Claymore user. He's got a dark damage mode on his ultimate, so he does sub as a dark DPS really well. He has a dark defense shred on his QTE, allowing for more elemental damage, and he does get this right out of the box, and it does get increased with his ascensions, but being an S rank, it is a little bit tougher to get the higher ascensions. But overall, he's a really solid unit and does have a decent amount of damage output, and he's fun to play. Our second unit is number 21. Now, number 21 was a unit that was released later than Kamui Tenebrian. She is an A rank unit, so she does have just out the gate a bit of an issue with her base level stats compared to Kamui Tenebrian. However, as an A rank, she would be easier to get because you can have her selected on the A rank pool on the basic construct research. So not taking the S rank selector into account, she would be easier to get. Some other things of note around number 21, her leader skill does increase her dodge meter, and she does get dark damage shred at SSS, which is achievable over time as an A rank unit. But we gotta decide, who are we gonna go for? So despite being an A rank, number 21 is a solid unit even when compared to Kamui Tenebrian. And while normally you're going to be selecting your main DPS's leader skill and not really using the tank leader skill, number 21's increased dodge meter on her leadership skill is actually useful in certain niche scenarios, and so isn't actually a complete wash. But with Kamui being an S rank, his damage does still just outshine number 21 with his base stats being higher. Also, with having the dark defense shred right out of the box with Kamui Tenebrian, for me, that kind of puts him above number 21 as well. So overall, I do still think they're fairly close units. So for me, the deciding factor actually between the 2 is, what did you do with your S rank selector? If you've got the S rank selector available and you can just go ahead and pick Kamui Tenebrian right now, easy clap, pick Kamui, he's going to be better for you. If you've already used it on another unit, maybe you picked Liv, I think it's Liv Luminance or Liv Lux, whichever one is available on the current S rank selector, and you don't have that available now, and so it's going to be kind of tough to get Kamui Tenebrian, number 21 is actually still a solid tank unit to invest into, and actually I would still encourage you to do so if Kamui Tenebrian's not accessible. So overall, our number 1 tank unit is going to be Kamui Tenebrian. Next, we're going to be looking at the supports. As I mentioned before, with the inclusion of Selena Capriccio, we have 2 units competing for the support slot, and that is Selena and Vera. While Selena is technically an amplifier class and not a support class unit, she still functionally works as the same slot, and so that's why we're comparing the 2. The big thing that both of these units are going to bring to the table is healing. Both of them have that accessible, but also some sub DPS opportunities as well. So first off, we're going to talk about some of the pros for Selena Capriccio. As I mentioned before, she can be a sub DPS and a healer, but does take a decent amount of investment to do so. As an amplifier, Selena's swap skill gives a damage boost for 10 seconds, so dark damage in her case. Her QTE does deal dark damage and heals allies based on her attack. Her ult will also deal damage and heal. And then when you get up in her ascensions, her SS heals herself when entering the battlefield and increased dark damage on her ult, as well as any overcapped healing that she gets actually turns into a shield. So almost slowly starts to fade into like a tank unit, I guess you could say, if you can get her up to SS. On her triple S, boosts her damage passive, her dark damage buff, and the ult heals more. On triple S plus, 3 ping orbs on other units increases Selena's ult energy, allowing her to cycle through that a lot faster for more healing and for more damage. And despite being an S rank, Selena is free permanently in that she's a farmable unit because her event is permanently going to be added into the game where you can get her the first time. And then after that on the battle pass, you can still get her from the yellow cards. So overall, despite being an S rank unit, still really accessible to players permanently, which is great. However, next thing we're going to take a look at is Vera Rosen. So some of the pros surrounding Vera Rosen is she's also a good sub DPS and healer. She is an A rank unit, so she's a little bit easier to farm the shards on and get her to triple S plus. It's still going to take time, but a lot easier to do on an A rank versus an S rank unit. Her QTE does dark damage and healing based on attack and also gives a dark damage buff for 5 seconds. Her ult gives a dark damage AoE and then her DPS heals based on the attack. And it also gives herself increased movement speed and gives a dark damage buff. And her core passive, when you charge it up, she does ranged dark damage slash attacks. And that also charges her ult faster. So she's still cycling through that fairly quickly in a self-sufficient way. And her ascensions, if you oversimplify going from, double S, triple S, triple S plus, it basically increases her healing and damage on her core passive, those ranged slash attacks. I didn't really cover the leader passives because there's not really a scenario in where you're going to use either of them on each of the units. I was doing a lot of research across the community because I don't have Selena Capriccio myself, but the general consensus is that until triple S to triple S plus, Selena doesn't really start to outclass Vera Rosen in her overall healing and damage output. I have seen a little bit of pushback on that, and that actually that pivot is around double S, which is pretty quick to get to, even after this event. I mean, you can take that with a grain of salt. So overall, who wins in this slot? Who's better? If we're talking about a 1-to-1 max invested Vera versus Selena, Selena wins on the max investment front. Once she gets to triple S plus, she's going to beat out Vera on her healing and DPS potential. However, Vera's been in the game a little bit longer, and like somebody like myself, I've already basically fully invested into Vera, and it's going to be a long time from casually investing in shards to get Selena to replace Vera. Final conclusion, Selena does still just pull ahead, unfortunately. But again, this game's all about fun, so play with the character that you like, and you can also play for waifu, which I will be, so Vera for life. So now we're going to answer the question that I'm sure is on everybody's mind. Who is the top dark DPS in Punishing Grey Raven? Again, we've got 2 units competing for this slot. We have got the S rank Luna, and we've got the A rank Watanabe Astral. So quickly just covering Luna's kit and some perks surrounding Luna. She is an S rank ranged dark damage dealer. She does physical damage on her basic attacks, but then she can switch to her core passive, which is called Annihilation mode, where she does insane dark damage and gets these unique white orbs that come through that also do even more dark damage, as well as her basic attacks do dark damage. And I got to use her in the current Selena Capriccio event when you get to build those teams, and it was a lot of fun. She's a lot of fun to play. The Annihilation mode, when you set it off as well, does trigger QTE, so it allows you to cycle in those units faster as well, doing some increased damage and getting some healing in those cases. Really useful. Her ult is this insane AoE burst of damage that goes off that just like clears the field. And her own QTE does a small burst of dark damage as well, just if you are working through the rotation at that point. With being a ranged unit, she does have some pretty good mobility and survivability as well. I will also just mention any 3 pings on any of her skills also just switch the damage to dark damage, which is pretty much the case for most of these units. Boiling down her ascensions, because I'm not going to bore you with all the specifics, it basically comes down to dark damage gets increased on the white orbs, on the matrix orbs, and a great thing about Luna, at S rank, she's usable for any player. Like, you don't need to get her at a higher ascension for her to be a viable unit. She's great. Now, I'm sure with everything I just said about Luna, you guys are thinking like, well, then there's no way that Astral Watanabe can come through. But like, look, let's not count the underdog out yet. So Astral Watanabe was the first dark DPS in the game. He is an A rank, so he is a little bit easier to get overall. Again, because you can set him as the select A rank on the base construct banner. Something that not everybody may know is that on Astral Watanabe's release on the CN servers, there was a bit of an outcry from the community in that they thought the S rank units were coming too fast. So actually Astral Watanabe was supposed to be an S rank unit and has the stats of an S rank unit. What they did is they basically just swapped him down to an A rank unit and still released him around the same time. That's also why there's 2 A rank Watanabes. For his skills overall, he does basic physical damage, but does dark damage on his ultimate and his QTE. His core passive also does a sick dark damage combo, which is a lot of fun to play. And like other units, 3 pings converts the damage to dark damage. And his ascensions, again, boiling them down, are dark damage buff. That's pretty much it. So, time to answer the question, who should you pick? Despite Astral Watanabe being a really strong unit, especially compared to other A rank units, he gets outclassed by Luna in every single way, 100%. In a lot of the testing information I was looking at, a base S rank Luna with a 5-star weapon can beat a max invested Astral Watanabe on damage. Like, this is just a perfect example of power creep in a game where Luna just straight up replaces Astral Watanabe. It is what it is. The only thing to take into consideration with trying to get Luna is that she's an S rank unit. And so normally the only way you would get her, because it's past her premier banner, is you're going to need to pull for her on the arrival construct banner, which is only a 70%. Fun fact, if you're watching this video around the time that it releases, her banner will actually still be up for a couple days, and you can actually get a chance to get her. Actually, you know what? No! No! I'm just really realizing I mixed up the A rank and the S rank animation anyway, so wow, it's fine. Well, you can't win them all. So as I was saying, the way that you would normally get her is off of that 70% arrival banner. But here's the kicker. We are actually slated to get another S rank selector sometime around May, which does go up to Luna. Which if you S rank select Luna, you completely circumvent any downside to potentially getting the unit, because you don't have to waste any black cards on the banner, which really is just the last nail in the coffin for Astral Watanabe, and that the only thing going for him was that he was an A rank and might be more accessible. But sorry, buddy, not with that S rank selector. So that's pretty much it, guys. So in conclusion, for as of right now in global, your 3rd place unit is going to be Selena Capriccio, with the caveat of high investment. However, again, Vera is still viable. Your number 2 slot is going to be Kamui Tenebrian, who is the best dark tank. Again, with the caveat that number 21 is still a viable option for teams. And your number 1, I think everybody saw this coming, dark unit is going to be Luna as the main dark DPS for the game. Unbeatable. Honestly, at this stage with the S rank selector coming in a couple months, I don't even think Astral Watanabe is worth investing in at this point. If you have invested, it's not a waste. He's still a solid unit. But if you're like me and I don't have either units at this point, if I was to get Astral Watanabe, I probably wouldn't bother. Just throwing that out there. But that's it for this Punishing Gray Raven video, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. If you've made it this far in the video, please like and subscribe. It always helps support the channel, and I greatly appreciate that. Let me know what you think down below of the characters that I've selected. Do you disagree? Do you want to push back on it? Do you think actually, number 21 is better than Kamui Tenebrian? I mean, I'm still always of the opinion that you pick the unit that you will think you will have the most fun with. And that's why, for example, I'm sticking with Vera. I think she's way better waifu, and more fun. But that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.